Cyberchase The Quest is a series of Flash-based point-and-click adventure games and a tie-in to the PBS children's cartoon, Cyberchase. Educational point-and-click games were big in the 90s, but they mostly fell out of popularity before my time. They saw a brief revival in the early 2000s, when many American households were first acquiring internet access, and online games became a viable promotional tool for TV networks. PBS released Cyberchase The Quest in 4 parts, from 2003 through 2009. For this review, I will be focusing on Quest 1. The PBS website does not currently support this game. In the end, I got the game to work by finding an old archived version of the webpage through the Wayback Machine. Link in the description. Firstly, I have to choose a character. You might have thought that I would control one of the main characters from the show, but these all look like random background characters. At least, I think that they do. I'ma be real, I remember almost nothing of Cyberchase lore. I've only ever seen small portions of a few episodes, so I don't know who any of these characters are. I could be this poodle feller, I suppose. He or she or they or it looks approachable. So the game starts with a directive from this entity. I think that they call it motherboard or something.
And I need your help.
Anyways, it's the authoritarian hive mind that controls everything in this world. I remember that much.
Remember those nasty bugs that Hacker let loose in the Cyberberry? Well, now he's found a way to make them so tiny.
This is the only fully voiced cutscene in the quest, and I can hear why they made it that way. Listen to this. It's so compressed. This sounds like SNES quality audio.
You need to collect various pieces.
Basically, these weird computer bugs are attacking the computer system, and I have to find all of this random junk to fix it. Alright, sounds easy.
Some parts you can earn by solving games or puzzles. Others you'll need to buy or trade from the stores in the Cyber Mall, where you can also buy stuff to decorate your room here in Control Central.
So, this is my home base. I haven't even left the first room, and I'm already seeing bugs. Of course, I mean bugs in the game's design. Look at this. I'm flying up walls and through the door frame. Shouldn't there be collidable walls to control where I can go? Actually, there is a barrier in this one spot in particular. If I get into this corner, the game only allows me to exit by going to the left. There isn't much in my bedroom just yet. I'll be able to play with my collectible junk in here after I collect some. What I can do is play with this arcade game. It's essentially Breakout, minus the breaking. Just a super basic mini-game to fill some space. Nobody put very much thought into this. This and some other mini-games have no effect on the core gameplay. It's not like I win anything for scoring here. Early Flash games tend to be very glitchy, and Cyberchase The Quest is no exception. Even this extremely basic minigame becomes almost unplayable within a matter of minutes. Let me start with the fun glitch. Sometimes the game just decides to give me a heck-ton of free points. The donut bounces back and forth between the paddle and what seems to be an invisible barrier, netting as many as 13 points at a time. I've tried to figure out exactly what causes this phenomenon. It occurs most frequently when I'm near the extreme edges of the paddle's range. The glitch rarely actualizes in the middle, and it gives fewer points in that case. Now, on to the more infuriating glitch. Sometimes the game just abruptly stops. It just ends. What the heck? I was winning! I don't know what causes this. Every time that it stops me, it's at a different number. The highest that this game has allowed me to score is 23 points. While I'm wasting my time on this broken arcade cabinet, the main point-and-click game is still going on in the background. I can move the poodle around and even leave the room, all while, somehow, controlling the paddle. Alright, on to the actual quest. All of the play areas are open to me from the beginning. I can play them in an arbitrary order of my choosing. I started off with this area called Castle Blanca. It's full of goofy horror cliches on which I can click. Hey, it's a mummy that does a funny dance! Laugh! Laugh at the funny dance! This goblin who cleans up the spider webs is my favorite. I don't speak goblin, but I think that he said some cuss words. Oh, I wonder what this is. Hey! Dump garbage on me. So I made my way to the inn, which is one of the main areas in Castle Blanca. This old witch is going to tell me about their bat infestation that I'm supposed to fix. Here, you can see that my choice of dialogue options has almost no effect on the outcome of the conversation. Whether or not I say that I know about the problem, she gives exactly the same explanation. So, I'm now in this minigame called Bats in the Belfry. Basically, I have to sort the bats by color. I click on them and drag them into the bar graph. Sometimes there isn't enough on-screen space to fit all of the bats of a given color. In that case, I can drag that little peanut to scale down the graph. Also, that kid refers to bats as bugs. This is a weird and ultimately pointless mechanic. It's not like I have to make a choice on when and when not to change the scale. There's no penalty for scaling down, so it's best to just do it at the beginning of every round. Whether or not I need the extra cells in the end, they are good to have. So it's just 8 rooms of this. Pretty easy. Hey, I'm playing Bats in the Belfry while wearing hats in the Belfry. Bats in the Belfry? Hats in the Belfry. Yeah! So anyways, I didn't get any items from that game. I did, however, get a lot of money out of it. Later on, I'll be able to buy important items with that. Look closely right here. When my character stops or changes direction, the number on its torso changes to a 1 for about 3 frames. There are various NPCs that give short snippets of information, useful and otherwise. This human child is telling me that I'm supposed to enter some skateboarding tournament called Shredfest. Look, I don't even know what that is yet, I just got here. So I solve some anagrams for her, and she gives something called mud wheels to me. Thanks, I guess? Most of the interactions with NPCs are supposed to be vaguely educational. That makes sense since it's a kids game based off of a PBS show. To this end, some NPCs do their job better than others. I like the Wolfman. He gives worded math problems. A kid would actually have to slow down and figure out which operation corresponds to each question, and then actually do the math. There's also a vampire in this castle, and he has various funny trinkets in his room. Most of the clickable fixtures in this game don't do anything of consequence. A few of them make collectible items appear. So what type of problems does the vampire present? More anagrams, of course. I'm going to be seeing a lot of these, amn't I? Anagrams are the classic format, after all. They're easy to write, you just scramble some letters, and they also happen to be minimally educational. I've done about as much as I can do here at this point in the game. It's time to return to the station and go shopping. I've garnered a good number of snellfoos, so I can buy some of Motherboard's components outright. Thank you, Binky. My next level is the water level with a stupid name. The first fish that I encounter is this fellow. Really, what is up with this weird fish? It's just swarming over my cursor and making this weird bubbling noise. In most other games, I'd think that this is a glitch. There seem to be a lot of food items in this cyber site. Maybe some of them are important collectibles. I see that I can get these so-called cyberberries. Now, I wonder about that olive right here. What was that? The fish just ate the cursor! It appears to be a Mac cursor, judging by the color. There's this big walrus fellow just sleeping down here. Walruses can only store about 10 minutes worth of air at a time, so I'd better wake him up before he suffocates. Hey! Wake up! So there isn't a lot of interest in this cyber site. I saw a sign pointing to a castle, which sounds important. I went to check out the throne room, but no one is here. What gives? This would logically be the place to go for the next prompt on my quest, and it's completely empty. As it happens, I'm actually supposed to go into the prince's bedroom. Yeah, this is a society in which I can just invite myself into a prince's personal living quarters and start having a casual conversation. It's possible that Motherboard informed him that I'd be coming, but he doesn't really give that indication. He talks like he's entertaining some random tourist. So he gives me the password to enter some maze. I find the maze and this strange creature appears. I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be a sea slug, which is an odd choice for a few reasons. Firstly, do kids even know what a sea slug is? Doubtfully. They aren't a very common animal that you encounter in life. Also, why is it way bigger than any other character in the game? Kids might look at this and think that it's some type of banana dragon fish. The game in the maze is very straightforward. I follow the directions on the right side of the screen until I happen upon this artifact called the Eye of Ram. I then retrace my steps to get out. This short section is unusually atmospheric, especially respecting the music. There's a noted lack of ambient sound throughout most of the game, so this part is definitely memorable. So, on to the next area. That would be our fair city. This is the home of various amusements, including a zoo and the Donut Museum. Because of this game, I now know that the Lucky Charms leprechaun is a resident of cyberspace. Interesting. We're getting into the deep lore now. But most of the art descriptions are cringe as hell. This one especially. Leonardo da Donut. They didn't even try to make a pun out of that. Vinci and donut do not sound similar. No subtlety, no wit, they just crammed in the word donut where it doesn't belong. Anyways, I bought some donuts. I might use these later. The NPC Erica Ram gives some of the most interesting interactions in the game. While the other characters ask common knowledge questions, Erica asks about the events of the show, Cyberchase. I only ever watched a few episodes, and I remember almost nothing of what I did see. Still, I'm able to guess my way through most of these questions. Solaria sounds like it could be a tropical locale. Hacker is a boomer. He definitely listens to Elvis. Here's what I've figured out about Erica. If I answer 3 consecutive questions correctly, she gives a bonus of 15 snellfoos. Then she disappears. She won't take any further questions at that time. Though, if I only get 2 out of 3, she doesn't go away. She stays around and continues to ask questions and give out money. If I purposefully answer every 3rd question wrong, I can keep this going for a while. I used this exploit to get a lot of money rather quickly. Honestly, why do these people stand around giving out money for trivial questions? Do they have nothing better to do? This area has the lost and found, where I can give in items that I've found in exchange for small sums of money. There are a few little mini-games throughout our fair city. I'm allowed to whack these little penguin creatures back into their holes until I'm content. There's also mini-golf. The ball goes towards the spot where I click. And then there's Simon. It's just Simon. This area's main money-making game is at the zoo. The animals are out of their enclosures, and the zoo employee has chosen me, of all people, to reorganize them. As you may see, it's a Venn diagram exercise. I put the animals into seemingly arbitrary groups, based on qualities such as ear length and color. This may seem dangerous, but I'm choosing to assume the best of these animals. I'll trust that the Liopo won't immediately eat the bunny if I place them together. It's a fictional animal, after all. I don't know what it eats. That's an interesting point, by the way. These are all made-up animals, except for that one that's just bunny. Somebody ran out of ideas and just said, screw it, bunny in the zoo. At the end of each round, there's a horrendous, ear-piercing soundbite. Listen to this. I've heard that noise in my nightmares. Now I've coincidentally rediscovered its origin. Thanks, CyberQuest. I really needed that. At this point in the game, there's only one cyber site that I haven't visited. That is Radopolis. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I have to buy a bus ticket for each area before the game allows me to go there. So here I am in Radopolis. It looks like Hacker has deposed the king and taken over this whole city. One of the first areas in Radopolis is Slider's garage. Slider tells me that I have to enter this skateboarding contest called Shredfest. He doesn't say why, but I assume that it's to defeat Hacker. Actually, that makes some sense. I remember that NPC in Castle Blanca who gave those skateboard wheels to me. Maybe I have to win the contest to get the remaining components for Mother Brain. So I go along with Scooter. On top of the fetch quest that I'm already playing, he gives me a completely different fetch quest to collect a bunch of skateboard parts. Luckily, he's very explicit about where to find them. He suggests that I buy the parts at the. Very freaking useful. Here's the robot that I'll be controlling in Shredfest if I get that far. Taking a look around Radopolis, I see that Hacker has made himself comfortable. God, the dialogue in this game is just terrible. Bye, bad guy. Really? After wandering around for about 2 minutes, I found the first module. Now my skatebot can duck. I've been in Radopolis for a few minutes, and I already have no idea where to go. The museum is closed, and a lot of the screens are almost empty. It's like the developers forgot to populate this area with NPCs. Then there's this. Just south of Hacker's throne is another hacker, just floating mysteriously over a patch of grass. He even speaks the same dialogue. What the hell is going on in this cyber site? Ignoring whatever that was, I kept looking for the other 3 modules. I searched for at least 10 minutes and I couldn't find them anywhere. Radopolis isn't even very big. I'd think that they'd turn up somewhere. Apparently they just don't exist. I even returned to the area where I found the duck module. It just produced another duck module. Now I have 2 of them. Do you want to know what happened immediately after that? I got stuck on this endless loading screen as I tried to leave. The game really does not want me to find these modules. Mind you, the game hasn't crashed. It just refuses to load the next screen. I can still access my squack pad for such mundane tasks as reading the newspaper. The screen never came back, and I ended up refreshing my browser to get out of that. I would have been very annoyed if I had lost all of my progress. The Wayback Machine actually saves progress on Flash games, which is good to know. I was not aware of that. Before resuming with the game, I watched a portion of a walkthrough. I wanted to figure out why the modules aren't appearing. Here's what I learned. I'm actually not supposed to participate in Shredfest. I'm currently playing Quest 1, and I'm not even supposed to set foot in Radopolis until Quest 2. What I've been playing is an unfinished version of the play area from a different quest. So, the developers were building the play areas for both quests in the same development environment. Somehow, they neglected to remove the unfinished Quest 2 content when they published the completed version of Quest 1. How do you even make that mistake? Did no one test this game? And the game gives no clear indication that I'm not supposed to go here. In fact, it led me on and made me think that there's more to uncover. That one character mentioned the race in Blanca, which is the first cyber site that I visited. I was even able to collect the wheels and one of 4 modules. Logically, I would think that there's more to find here. But no, the developers never intended for the Shredfest in Quest 1 to be completable, and they left it in anyway. Seriously, how easy would it have been to avoid all of this confusion? The developers would have only had to make 2 very simple changes to the environment of Quest 1. Firstly, remove Radopolis from the list of destinations at the bus stop. Then remove that one character that references Shredfest in Blanca. Now that I'm done with that whole mess, I can get back to my quest. I went to the mall to look for the remaining items. I bought a can of cryoxide for motherboard. I also got a lot of useless junk while I was there. The quest also requires me to collect a food item called a chocoberry chiller. No idea why a computer would need that, but whatever. I figured out that I actually have to buy 2 of them, so I'm glad that I collected all of the Cyberberries in cyberspace. I had to use all of them. I hold on to one chocoberry chiller. The other I trade to Two-Headed Sam in Blanca. He has the second can of cryoxide, which is the last key item. Now I'm finally ready to return to base and end the game. Here's some of the junk that I bought. The snake plays some music. Alright, we vibing. I was just clicking around the scene and I accidentally activated the final cutscene. They suck up all of the cyber bugs and put them into a cardboard box, which is ridiculous. Anyways, the cutscene started with the music from the snake still playing. The audio overlaps, creating this. It actually sounds pretty popping, though. Give it a hear.
Alright! Great job!
So that playthrough was a disaster, but I got through it. Even beyond the whole Shredfest debacle, this game has a lot of seemingly unfinished and out-of-place scenarios. Like, what was the deal with that Eye of Ram thing? I went through a whole ordeal to get that impressive-looking ancient artifact, and the game never references it again. I decided to go into the game one more time to see whether or not I missed anything of note. This is the area where Hacker was floating before, but he's not here. Instead, I see the ghost of the rightful king of Radopolis. Hey, buddy. Yeah, don't worry about the fact that I'm apparently dead. King Stoked is extremely chill, for a spirit that's tethered to the mortal plane. He just gives a lot of information that might be useful for Quest 2. I'm not going to remember any of it, though. I'll probably fumble through that quest, as I did with this one. I have no idea as to why he wasn't appearing before, or what I did differently this time to make him appear. I noticed something else that's weird on my final overview. For whatever reason, the game displays twice on this web page. If I scroll down all the way, another window appears. I don't know whether this is an eccentricity of the PBS website in the early 2000s, or whether the Wayback Machine somehow formatted it in this way. In any case, it's awesome. If I zoom all of the way out, I can play Cyberchase the Quest twice at the same time. The text is illegible, but hey, it works!